their heating go through the roof. But why don't we just end the debate and let Canadians decide and have a carbon tax election?
The Parliamentary Budget Officer clearly spelled out that 8 out of 10 Canadian families in areas where the price on pollution applies get more money back every year than they pay in the price on pollution. That's because we quit.
In the halls of Canadian politics, heated discussions are a staple, and this latest instance was centered on the federal carbon tax. A recent session in the House of Commons brought this issue to the forefront, highlighting a notable contention. And it all had to do with the disparity in carbon tax rates between Quebec and other provinces. Suffice to say, it was one of those moments of parliamentary procedure which set the stage for a passionate exchange, to say the least.
Opioids, and his solution to all this misery is today to hike the carbon tax by 23%. This is not just a tax at the pump, it's a tax on your heat, a tax on your food, because if you tax the farmer who grows the food and the trucker who ships the...
Pierre Poilievre, who is the Conservative Party leader representing the opposition, has been known to voice his concerns simmering amongst many Canadians. And at the heart of the debate is the claim by the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, or CTF, about the perceived unfairness of the federal carbon tax. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is accused of giving Quebec a preferred deal, leading to higher gas prices and heating bills for taxpayers in other provinces.
Folks from coast to coast are sick and tired of paying the carbon tax. But you know something funny? There's one special little region of Canada that is not forced to pay Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's mandatory minimum carbon tax. They get a special deal. They pay a smaller carbon tax. Can you guess which province? If you guessed the province of Quebec, you'd be right, my friend.
However, according to the federal government law, all provinces are required to impose the carbon tax equally. But the current reality seems to tell a different story. Taxpayers in provinces like British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and others are paying $80 per ton of carbon dioxide equivalent. Meanwhile, Quebec operates under a cap-and-trade system with a significantly lower rate of $57 per ton.
The carbon tax will cost about 17 cents a liter of gasoline, 21 cents per liter of diesel, and 15 cents per cubic meter of natural gas. So the carbon tax and the increase will make your life more expensive, and it'll make the necessities of your life more expensive. So it'll make it more expensive for you to fuel up your car to get to work, make it more expensive for you to keep your home warm, and make it more expensive for you to buy groceries.
Sadly, also, this disparity is expected to grow. By 2030, the federal carbon tax is projected to reach $170 per ton, while Quebec's rate is estimated to top off at $97 per ton by then. This difference translates to Quebecers paying around 14 cents less per liter of gasoline compared to the rest of Canada. And Franco Terrazzano, CTF's federal director, may very well have suggested that Trudeau's special deal for Quebec shows the carbon tax was always about politics. Apparently, Trudeau's father, who was also prime minister, hails from Quebec.
I prefer a cleaner solution, a market-based solution of saying, you know what? If you're behaving in ways that are going to cause pollution that is going to impact the whole community, you should pay for that pollution so the community then doesn't suffer the negative sides of it or have to clean it up on their own dime. We know there's a lot of families across this country.
Meanwhile, Justin Trudeau reaffirmed his commitment to the carbon tax despite mounting opposition, particularly from Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. Trudeau defended the policy, emphasizing its role in addressing climate change. Acknowledging concerns about affordability, he attempted to point out the economic benefits of the carbon rebate system while criticizing what he termed as political misinformation surrounding the initiative.
Agreed. So I'll ask the question again. He wants to hike the tax to 61 cents a liter. If it gets to that high and people are all starving in the streets, will that stop the forest fires?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
On his part, Poilievre vowed to challenge the tax increase through multiple parliamentary votes, signaling ongoing Conservative resistance. The move aligns with broader provincial opposition, including calls from leaders like Newfoundland and Labrador's Andrew Furey to delay the tax hike due to economic pressures. Pierre is especially urging Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to suspend all gas and diesel taxes from Victoria Day to Labor Day, aiming to lower gas prices by 35 cents per liter. Pierre argues that this would give families a financial break for the summer season.
Rhetorical points, he actually completely ignores the basic facts. The price on pollution is revenue neutral for the federal government. That means the money that comes in for the price on pollution, for the carbon tax, gets returned to the jurisdictions, and is why the Parliamentary Budget Officer found 8 out of 10 Canadian families in jurisdictions where the carbon price applies.
In response, Trudeau suggested that Pierre should have also addressed provincial taxes on fuel, accusing him of ignoring facts about the carbon tax's benefits. Trudeau passionately defended the carbon tax, also known as the Canada Carbon Rebate System, which provides families with quarterly payments that offset the tax costs. He further emphasized the need to combat climate change, especially during worsening natural disasters.
As we build a better future for everyone, having those difficult conversations, being able to have conversations in this room that are the reflection of conversations that need to be having across the country is a strength, not a weakness. And anyone pointing to that as a weakness does not get Canada.
But despite the House of Commons debate, the drama continues, and there's a growing chorus within the Liberal caucus calling for significant changes. Some MPs believe that without considerable action, Trudeau's leadership could be irreparably damaged. They argue that a substantial portion of the caucus is willing to give the Prime Minister time to implement changes, but stress the urgency of the situation. Several Liberal MPs told Canadian news outlets that they want to see major changes within the next few weeks, so the pressure's on for Trudeau to show that he can unite his caucus and reconnect with voters.
In Toronto, St. Paul's, and the calls from caucus members and former cabinet colleagues, they say it's time for a new leader.
Listen, there's always going to be lots of reflection after a tough loss, but there's also so much to do, and I am committed to doing the work of building a better Canada every single day. So I look forward to next year's Canada Day, and I look forward to many more Canada Days. This is the kind of work that...
Yet, as Trudeau faces mounting pressure from within his party, the future of his leadership hangs in the balance. Even his loyalists acknowledge that minor tweaks won't suffice. The demand is for bold, decisive action to restore confidence among MPs and the broader electorate. MPs also warned that if the Prime Minister's office tries to delay and ride out the summer without addressing the internal issues, the party risks further fragmentation.
What's your name?
After losing one of the safest Liberal seats in the country, the Prime Minister returned to the safety of home. His Papineau riding trying to push ahead with business as usual, when the unrest in his caucus is anything but.
Last week's by-election loss, not to sugarcoat it, was challenging. Was something we need to take.
Meanwhile, the dust is still settling from the recent by-election in Toronto St. Paul's, where a once solid Liberal seat fell to the Conservatives. For many within the Liberal Party, this loss has sparked frustration and confusion with questions about the party's direction under Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. For instance, insiders report a lack of a clear and cohesive communication strategy to handle the potential loss. Despite early warning signs from the local campaign, the response from the Prime Minister's office seemed unprepared, to say the least.
There has to be a reaction to that. Do you think that that your government needs to make a significant change here?
The Prime Minister has my full support. I know he has the full support of Cabinet, and I know he has the full support of the vast majority of Liberal MPs.
Following the by-election, the messaging of the Prime Minister's office pivoted to promises of working harder and simplifying their approach. However, this process did little to satisfy MPs and political staff who were looking for a more substantive plan. Reports suggest that at a recent government communications meeting, a senior staff member downplayed the loss, which further fueled frustration within the party itself.
MP told CBC News a number of MPs are now considering not running if Trudeau is at the helm.
Are you willing to stay on and lose members of your caucus?
I think the conversation.
In an effort to manage the unease, the Prime Minister has engaged in direct conversations with MPs, often in small groups or one-on-one. This approach, while intended to show attentiveness, has been interpreted by some as an attempt to control the narrative and avoid broader accountability. Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland also stepped in, hosting a meeting of the Toronto area MPs in her backyard. However, these intimate consultations seem to be insufficient at addressing the widespread concerns and discontent within the party.
So I'm here in SLAMS, where we have an extraordinary candidate for the by-elections that are coming, Municipal Councillor Craig Sauvé. Craig, what are you hearing on the doorsteps as you talk with people in your riding?
Well, there's an extraordinary response, a lot of positivity towards our campaign, a lot of enthusiasm for the NDP. And seniors are talking to me about our dental care program. And the recent news has come out that over 700,000 Quebec.
So the anxiety within the Liberal caucus is real, especially with another crucial by-election on the horizon in David Lamette's old Montreal riding of SLAMS, like the Toronto St. Paul seat. This riding is considered a must-win for the Liberals. A loss here to Craig would not only symbolize a broader trend of declining support in key urban areas, but could also exacerbate the internal turmoil too. The July 2023 cabinet shuffle, intended to inject new energy into the party, now seems useless as the party grapples with holding on to critical seats.
Only run again if Trudeau does too.
I've made a commitment to Justin Trudeau to be a candidate in the next election. I'm committed to running as long as he is the leader.
Ministers came to his defense publicly for the second week in a row.
I think he is the right leader for us. He's won 3 elections. We formed government 3 times.
So far, the calls for substantial changes within the party are growing louder. While some MPs continue to support Trudeau, there's a significant faction within the caucus that is demanding clear and decisive actions. Even Trudeau's loyalists acknowledge that minor adjustments are not going to cut it. They're calling for major changes in cabinet, senior staff, or policy direction to reinvigorate the party and restore confidence. The risk is that if the Prime Minister's office continues to take a slow and cautious approach, the discontent could turn into something far bigger.
The Tories say their win in Toronto St. Paul proves Canadians are tired of Trudeau and want an election now. The Liberals have another by-election test coming up sometime before September 17th in the central Montreal riding of LaSalle-Amard-Verdun, a riding that was previously held by the party.
Presently, the Liberal Party finds itself at a crossroads. The outcome of the upcoming by-election in LaSalle-Amard-Verdun is going to be a critical indicator of the party's current standing. Trudeau's ability to effectively manage his caucus and respond to their demands is going to be crucial in determining his political future and the party's trajectory. And as the Liberal Party navigates this challenging period, the need for clear leadership and a unified strategy is more pressing than ever. As always, it's Jan at your service, and the verdict on this one is the Liberal Party is in turmoil. But will they be able to win the upcoming riding? What are your thoughts on all of this? Make sure you let me know in the comments section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.